Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevate, the show that is designed to remind you of your greatness. Because when you focus on your greatness, you elevate everyone around you. So, I'm your host, Rebecca Gage, and I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I'm super excited to get to showcase this beautiful woman who I have backstage. But before I jump into that, I just want to take a moment to welcome you all on to the show today. If you are watching this live, drop a one in the comments. If you are watching this on the replay, drop a number two in the comments and let us know where it is that you're tuning in from. I want to just take a moment to highlight you because if you're watching this video, then A, you either stumbled upon it and now you're here, you're stuck. I'm kidding, you can keep scrolling, but or you've intentionally sought out this video. And if you've done that, I want to take a moment to applaud you. I want to take a moment to say, good job, way to go, because how many of you know that it takes intentionality to live a life of greatness? It takes intentionality to elevate your life. So if you are here today, I just want to be the first to say, good job. You are incredible. Pat yourself on the back and just celebrate that. So today's guest, I am so excited to get to introduce her to you guys today. She is a speaking coach. She's also an award-winning speaker. She specializes in storytelling, in confidence building, in impromptu speaking, in TED Prep, meaning that she helps individuals who are wanting to speak on TED or TEDx. And she also does what she likes to call her transformational talk. And so I am so excited to get to introduce to you all the beautiful, the amazing, the wonderful Amanda Fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and pull her from backstage. What's up, Amanda?
Hello, Rebecca. What an awesome intro.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to have you on this show because you and I have now known each other for several years.
Yeah.
And I have done quite a few of your programs. I have done, yeah, She Speaks,
Yeah.
and your prosperity game a couple different times, all of which, everything that you ever do, I'm like, okay, if it is in my schedule and I can make it happen, I will jump in because I have always just gotten so much out of all that you do. So I am super excited to have you on the show today. So why don't you just take a moment to introduce yourself to us?
Thank you. Yeah. It's been amazing working with you and getting to see you, evolve over the years as well and really take in everything that you're learning, not only from me and my programs, because I can see that, but I can just see how much you're growing. And it's really amazing to, see you leading this
Mm,
podcast and community now. And it's really great. So my story is that I started out. I'm like kind of a community person. I grew up. I'm still living in my hometown that I grew up in, and so I was leading this group for 3 years actually. But I had a job. Like that's how I was paying my bills. Right? Was I had a job on the side, and so when I did become a coach, and I wanted to teach this thing called presence. It's kind of esoteric, not that concrete. I wasn't offering like a cleaning service or products.
mhm.
I'm offering this nebulous thing, right? But I had already built my community. So I knew after 3 years of leading this community, I knew that I would just offer this class and immediately everyone would sign up. They would want to definitely pay me for my services. I mean, I had the perfect setup. So I offer it and crickets. Nothing.
Ah,
Nothing.
ah.
I convinced one friend to do it, like nudged her, and pulled her in. And then I had another client that sort of like was like half trade and like basically had two pity clients for my first several months. Just like, oh my God. And Now I look back and I can laugh about it a little bit, but in the moment I was really angry. I was, it's not good to be angry at the people that you wanting to have as clients, right? But I was like resentful, and I was really like, what is the deal? You'll be in my free community, but the second I ask you for some payment so I can let the job go and do this full time, then what? You don't want to pay me? And so it got to that place, and it got to also like self-conscious places like, uh-oh, this is about me. This is, they don't like my personality, or is it my weight? Is it my hair? Is it my age? Like, what is it about me that's just a block, right? And I'm just never going to make it because of this or that. And that's a really scary place to be, that you're starting to really self-doubt some core things about you that really aren't changing anytime soon, you know, and yet they seem to be blocks and barriers. So luckily, I had a friend and mentor who dragged me to a marketing conference, and I sat in that conference with 1,000 other people, and I swear that guy was talking just to me. And he said, marketing is a skill set that you can learn. And, if you can learn to walk and ride a bike and drive a car, you can learn marketing. And the thing that appealed to me about his game plan the most was public speaking. So I remember getting home from that conference, and I had the little booklet, that I'd been scribbling in all weekend. And I go to slide it into my desk. I had this like vertical shelf on my desk, and I'm like, yes, this is a great game plan. And I almost put it away. And then I was like, wait. And I swear it was like a physical thing that yanked it back into my hands and put it right on my desk. And I was like, you got to do this. You got to actually implement everything that you just learned. Don't put it away. Don't put it on a shelf. Put it on your desk. And so I ended up giving 4 talks that summer, and poof, I had 23 clients. My classes were full. I was like, oh my gosh, public speaking is the way to go. If I ever need to fill a class, just get up there and share. Because the coolest thing that I realized was that not only did I have my 23 clients that were going to get to go on and learn with me, but I had impacted way more than those 23.
Wow.
Right? I had like shared, and I had done the unthinkable thing, which was I had enjoyed my marketing process.
What? No.
Oh my God. Enjoying marketing, having an impact during the marketing. Wow. What is this magic? And so, I was pretty much hooked from there. Public speaking was my way to go. And I started really getting into the, tools and tricks of it, and how to be a public speaker that's not like memorized and poised and perfect and polished, because that wasn't the public speakers I related to the most. I feel like anybody can, not anybody, but there's a certain thing that it takes to do a perfect delivery of a practice speech.
Sure.
But there's a whole other thing that it takes to be so into your topic and so knowledgeable and so aware that you can speak off the cuff from the heart, really show up authentically. What if something just happened this weekend and you want to incorporate it into your speech, but you don't want to rewrite and rememorize your whole thing? Right. You just want to be able to grab that thing and put it in there because it's happening in the moment with your audience. Yeah. And personally, I'd rather see a terrible speaker who's like super passionate than a great speaker who is going to like walk out the door and not think about their topic ever again until their next speech.
Yes.
So that's kind of, why I do what I do. And I'm really into audience engagement and being present in the moment, as you know, and that's what I'm up to.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So I want to hit on a couple points. One is that I think it's super important that we just talk about this a little bit more, that maybe your, career wasn't just a straight line, wasn't like, I started this one day, I knew I was going to have people knocking down my door, and the next day they're knocking down my door. Because I think for a lot of women, they get to that point of the struggle and they think, just like what happened to you, you start questioning inside, like, okay, this isn't for me. This isn't right. Like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So I think that is so important that you hit on that and that you shared that, because that's a lot of people's journey, right? It's not some people, and we hear these stories of women who it is the straight line to success. They decide one day that they're going to do whatever, fill in the blank. And, in 30 days, they're a six-figure business. And we hear these stories, right? And
Yeah.
you think, what's wrong with us? So I'm so glad that you touched on that and that you shared that with us,
Yeah.
because that is really important. So,
I actually really encourage it for anyone who's trying to tell their business story. Do not skip over the low point, please.
mm,
We need to hear it. We want to hear
amen.
that you are human, because if you are human and you did that,
Yeah,
then I, as a human, can do what you did.
yeah.
So yeah.
And there's a possibility for me, and there's a possibility for her, and there's a possibility for our daughters, and even any men. My audience is not very many men, but anybody that hears a story, they can be reminded, like, oh yeah, if they can do it, so can I. So I love that you touched on that. Thank you so much. The other thing that I want to talk about is, one of the things that you did so much for me when I did She Speaks with you is you taught me, and this is still a practice. This is still a practice
Mm.
that I have to really work on, right? Is getting out of my head. You talked a lot in this class about like us being kind of these talking heads, and how often you even gave us an example in the class of what it's like to hear somebody who is talking from out of their head, out of this mind space.
Yeah.
It's very different than someone who is talking from inside, from someone who
Mhm.
is grounded and really speaking from that place of authenticity. So I feel like that is definitely a new thing for me. Like, I didn't know, and all I knew was to speak from that headspace, right? I thought that if I spoke from that place, that perhaps I could sound more important, or perhaps I could, but it missed this whole connection with my audience. So if you don't mind, would you, in your own words, just share what that getting down into, our true authentic voice, what that is?
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about it beautifully, and Rebecca, you're doing it beautifully. You're coming from this place that's underneath the words.
Mm,
It's really touching on that other huge percentage of communication that is happening beyond what we're saying. It's happening through our body language, it's happening through our facial expression, it's happening through our tone of voice.
mm,
And it's also just happening in the invisible energy between us, even over the distance.
yeah.
We're communicating on such a deep level. One of
Mhm.
my communications professors in college had the very first day had somebody get up in front of the room, and he goes, okay, I think her name was Olivia. Okay, Olivia, stop communicating. So of course she like tries to like still her body and go quiet and everything. But we were all like, nope, she's still communicating something. You're still communicating something no matter what you do. So becoming conscious of that, or as we say, present to that,
Mhm.
is everything,
Mhm.
because then you can start communicating from the place that you want, which is your knowledge, your wisdom, your knowing and connection with the audience, the world, your topic, all of that. And
Mhm.
it doesn't live up here, as you said. We tend to have some breaks in our awareness, and one of the breaks is right here, where we think life is only happening from here up, and only what's going on between here and here is what matters. But when I talk about presence, I like to bring up this little drawing of, look at how big your body is. 90% of your body is below the neck,
Wow, that is a powerful visual.
right? And can you see right next to it, you know, that iceberg picture that we've all seen where only 10% is above, and you've got this huge iceberg underneath. And this is really our subconscious where our subconscious lives and where our most of our power lives. 90% is here in our body.
Mm.
So if you're wanting to get your audience's subconscious mind on board, if you're wanting to access and get underneath their like mental barriers and really change them on a subconscious level, that's the part of you that needs to be online during your talk so
Mm.
it can talk to each other,
Mhm.
those subconscious parts can talk
Mhm.
to each other. So um, if the way to do this is just to put some of your attention down in your core, like right here around your belly button is really the center of you. And if you can just put some attention like behind your belly button, and you're literally just kind of visualizing down there, feeling for that space. Do you have any sensation down there? Can you even feel where your belly button is horizontally in your body? And so, if you notice, you can have attention there and still be looking out your eyes, looking at your audience, looking around your room. But this third eye that we have of our attention is actually anchored in your own body.
Mm.
And it's just a little bit different. It just changes your communication a little bit, grounds you and anchors you in your own self just a little bit. And that's just sort of the tip of the iceberg, or the center of the iceberg a little bit. But when you practice doing that, coming from that place, it completely changes what comes out your mouth and the way that it comes out of your mouth and hits people just totally differently.
Yeah, I totally agree. Again, it's just a practice for me. I have to just, continuously work on this because, for me, I get very nervous. Not as much anymore, but definitely the beginning stages. I was the kind of kid growing up that if we had to give a report in front of the class, like I would be in tears, terrified, like I would rather die. And, the truth is, most people, I think that is their number one fear is public speaking. Most people would rather die, right? Like most people would rather die. They have less of a fear of death and dying than they do of public speaking. So this practice was so powerful for me because it allowed me to set aside those nervous thoughts, even though that nervousness, I can still sometimes feel it in my belly.
Mhm.
I can still speak through it. I can still get to the point where I can speak through it. So I just think that is absolutely incredible. I love that practice. I love that
Yeah.
that's the work that you do. One of the things I really want to talk about, and one of the reasons that I was so excited to have you on this show is there's a powerful conversation that needs to be had between, people that don't think that they are a public speaker, or people that think that like, oh, that's not my career, like I'm not a public speaker. And the truth of the matter is that all of us have a voice, and all of us need to use that voice. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, I have moms that come to me as clients that say, I don't have a voice. My family doesn't hear me.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so I would love to, open up this dialogue with you. What would you say to that person who is watching the show and thinking like, okay, this is not for me because, I'm not a public speaker. I have no intention of speaking on big
Mm,
stages, or I have no intention, but we all have to find that voice. And I really honestly believe that all of us have a voice that we need to use.
mhm.
Right? Even if you're not on big stages, there is someone in
Absolutely.
your world, whether it's your children or your husband or your neighbor or your community, that really need to hear what you have to say. So how would you talk about that to the person watching that says like, how would you encourage them to find their voice?
Well, here's a really interesting thing I've learned about public speakers. People who call themselves public speakers, who want to be on stage, who are embracing all of that. Uh, um, and the reason I like to play in the public speaking world is I truly love these people, and I'm one of them. I'm a person who seeks out the stage. I always have, just always have. And the reason I like to play here is because that is such an edge for people to receive that much attention, or have that much responsibility and power to impact that many lives, right? It's an edge. And we extroverted public speaking types, theater types, public persona types, sometimes we are hiding in plain sight. And just because a stage isn't edgy for us doesn't mean we don't have areas of our life that are really freaking edgy to show up on. So for my public speaking types, we can often use our desire to be out on stage to learn these grounding and anchoring skills, these nervous system regulation skills. You were talking about the nerves and things like that aren't really going to go away necessarily all the time. If you're playing your edge again and again and again, you're going to run into some nervous chatter, and you're going to need a different place to go to so that they're not driving the bus and they're not taking over and they're not blocking you or preventing you, right? It's the feel the fear and do it anyway, right, kind of thing. But feeling the fear and just saying stop feeling the fear is different than having a place to go, right? Which I found to be in my body, in my feet, in my belly button, having some attention and awareness there. So that being said, sometimes public speakers are learning this anchoring on a stage, and then the scariest place for them to use it is in a personal relationship. Oh my God, I have to show up and talk to my husband or talk to my kid about this really scary thing, and I want to go into overprotective mode, or let me save you before you get hurt, or let me solve this for you. Oh, you're having a problem? I have your answer. Let me solve it for you. Just go ahead and do this, right? We get into that over advice mode, when really the situation is calling for us to come on down, be here with the person, maybe be curious with them, ask them, trust them, show them, or speak up and say something that's really vulnerable to say. And so I say all that to just say that anywhere you have an edge, a skill of coming down off of only looking over that edge and saying, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I'm going to fall. Having somewhere else to go and saying, no, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay if I say this and it goes badly. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to know what the next thing to do is. I'm going to trust that life has my back. And even if this person has a reaction that I don't like, I'm going to bring it up. And it at least will have been said. I will have done my part. So yes, I think these skills are incredibly useful for so many different edges we have. Marketing edges, saying your pricing, right? Saying your new offering and the results it really can achieve for somebody, because you've seen it happen. Speaking up, there's no shortage of ways that we need to speak up, and especially as women, especially in the world that we have today, where speaking up literally can mean life or death for people. We got to get present. We got to be able to stay in the room, stay in the conversation. We're now being offered as women spots at the table.
Right.
But now it's up to us. Can we hold that spot? Can we speak up when it's our turn? Can we even have a sense of the room to be this is my place to speak up, and sort of be aware of that?
That's so beautiful. One of the reasons that, I started my work as a coach is I saw women, what you kind of were talking about a little bit is I saw women who have all of the degrees and all of you know, the skill set and the tools and everything. I mean, they have, umpteen million titles after their name, and yet they lacked confidence, and yet they didn't speak up in those settings. I mean, I think you've said this before, I've said this before, but men will apply for a position, step into um, apply for a career or apply for a position when they've met only 60% of the criteria, while women wait until they're 100% qualified. So I 100% agree with you that this needs to shift there. And I definitely believe that there's a shift happening. And it's so amazing to be a part of. It's so amazing to get to see this and,
Mm.
to hold that space for not only ourselves, but for other women, and to hold that space for our daughters who are going to come up, and hopefully it will be a different environment that they grow up in, that women do have a proper seat at the table and they do have a voice and they do have that, but it's still, going up. And so it's up to us,
Yeah, we're
how
creating it right now.
we're creating it right now. So it's up to us kind of how we do that. Um, Man, I love that. That is just so good. That is, so one of the things that I want to touch on, and then we'll probably need to go, is one of the things that I love that you do in your work as a coach is you really teach people how to think about their audience, right? How to not think about themselves, and how to really engage their audience. What's a quick tip for anybody that's watching this that maybe is in public speaking or wants to, expand their communication, their leadership, their speaking? Is there a quick tool that you can do to really, be able to engage your audience or think about the audience and not so much yourself?
Well, I mean, that's a key phrase right there, is just how do I allow my message? The first step in public speaking is allowing your message to come out of your mouth. But the very next step is, how do I get my message, this learning that I'm trying to transfer, how do I get it through their mind, body, and out their mouths?
Mm,
How can I get them to really grab hold of what I'm saying?
mhm.
And I'm so happy you're asking me about quick tips, because I'm trying to finish my book this month
Oh,
of 22 games that speakers can play with their audiences to maximize that audience engagement
yeah.
and get them talking. And these are 22 games that you can tailor to any talk, right? So I'm trying to figure out the very best 22. But I think the quickest tip, the overall tip, is find somewhere in your talk that you can listen to your audience.
Mm,
Zip it up in front of the room. It's one of the most powerful things you can do, because speakers don't do it. They
mhm.
talk all the way through. They have 45 minutes to talk. They talk for 49 minutes and 59 seconds. They just talk the whole time. And so if you can find a time where you zip it and listen,
Mhm.
almost anything you do will be more audience engagement than every other speaker they've seen.
Mhm.
So is that asking them a question and actually allowing them to share? Is that maybe asking a question and have partners share? And then you take a few of the aha moments from
Mhm.
partners who have shared. What can I do to get them talking about the topic in the talk right now? Because
Mhm.
that way your transformation doesn't become those nice notes that people go home and put them right on the shelf and say, wow, that was a great talk, bloop, and they're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
No, you want to make sure that transformation happens right there in the room as much as possible. They're writing something, they're talking with a neighbor. Here's probably my favorite. I'll share with you. My favorite one is, have them. It's an oldie but goodie. Okay, it's. I know some of you maybe heard this before, but people are not doing it anymore. Have your audience member turn to their partner and teach their partner something they just learned from you as the speaker.
Oh,
Reteach it.
wow.
That way, the person who's hearing it gets a repetition,
Mhm,
right? And the person that heard it gets to share, like, this is what's meaningful to me.
mhm.
And it's on so many levels. It's so
Yeah,
great. So yeah, that's an
yeah.
example of one of the games in my book.
Ooh,
Reteach.
yeah,
Reteach something you just learned.
yeah. So the key is to get that audience engagement, is to get
Yeah.
them speaking back and answering and whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been incredible. I am so, so, so grateful that you came on the show and that you offered up your time. I know you're busy.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate you so much. Let us know how we can follow you. What are
Okay.
those next steps? Do you have social media platforms and all the things?
Yes, Facebook and LinkedIn are my main social platforms right now. My book will be out here, and my website will be playfulandpowerfulleadership.com.
Okay.
I'm moving everything over to that site. So
So
yeah,
everyone be sure to go follow her, like her, go to Playful Powerful Leadership. When is your book going to be out?
I'm gonna be done with it end of April 2023. So it should be out by May, end of
Oh my
May
gosh,
2023.
Amanda,
It's
so
soon. It's
excited
happening.
for you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So be sure to go like and follow and go to her website. And you guys drop in the comments one of your biggest takeaways from this conversation today. We would love to hear, if you had any aha moments, if you felt, something that you took away from the conversation that we had today, maybe something inspired you, maybe something, encouraged you to really start to find your unique voice and start to find your authentic, powerful voice. Because again, I think all of us benefit when we can use that and we can share that with the world around us. So Amanda, thank you again for being on. I appreciate you so much. Everyone, we will see you next time. Take care.
See
See
you
you
later.
later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.